Howdy, 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 YouTube. Tolstoy Kafkaevsky. 1 year older, but none the wiser. Coming to you to, I'll bring you another video the day after my birthday, and, you digging the Chinese triad jacket? Oh, yeah, I know you are. Awesome. Found this in a store that was going out of business, and it was like 60% off. It's got, like, enough pockets inside and outside. It's so awesome. That's really not the point or why we're here today, but I really wanted to wear it and show it off. It fits my really psychotic foxhound style, and it's awesome. Anyway, and the pockets are big enough to hold, are big enough to, this is going to take a long time. See part 2. Big enough to hold a PS2. There's no wire. Oh, that's right. This is the 6-axis controller. Now, I know what you're thinking. Now, Tolstoy, why do you have a 6-axis controller? Well, my birthday just went by, and I suppose it's because my family went halfway with me to buy a PS3. Yeah. So, there you go. The biggest review, probably the biggest review, or the most expensive thing I've ever reviewed so far, up till now, is going to be a PS3 review. Let's get started. I'll talk about the 6-axis later. There's a lot to say about that. But first things first, let's talk about the box that it came in. Now, bought it at a... yeah, I found more room over. I found more use for the room over here. So, there you go. This is the box that it came in. It is a PlayStation 3, and if you look, there we go, down here, it is the 40GB version. I could have gotten for backwards compatibility. I could have gotten a 60 gig or an 80 gig. 60 gigs are actually the best for backwards compatibility, because the 80 gig, I don't know the difference, but it's like they actually do the backwards compatibility. They play the games differently, like depending on which version you get. And they said the 80 gigabyte doesn't do everything, but the 60 gigabyte does near everything. Doesn't matter. I already have a PS2, so I bought a PS3, and the 40 gigabyte version was a little bit cheaper. Oh yeah, but it comes like stripped of all of its... never mind. Well, I'll get to that later. Well, no, the 40 gigabyte, it basically comes stripped of the SD and... what's the other one? Oh, basically memory card slots, but it's got a USB port, and I'm like... Alright, but I'll get to all that later. Basically, like I was saying, the box. First of all, she was heavy. In the store, she was weighing down on my hand so much I had to pick it up from the bottom because it was so heavy. Okay. So, on the side here, you've got a picture of the 6-axis controller, PlayStation 3. On the back here, you've got some games. Let's take a look. You got Lair, which apparently was a huge flop. Heavenly Sword, which... Stop rocking. Heavenly Sword, which was... Female God of War, Resistance Fall of Man, Warhawk, nice online game, Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and MLB The Show. Uncharted Drake's Fortune is kind of like Dude Raider, as they're saying, you know, guy. Says a whole bunch of... No, this model PlayStation... Okay, yeah, here you go. No, this model, the PlayStation 3 system, does not include memory stick / SD memory card, compact flash slots, hard disk capacity is 4 gigabytes. This model includes 2 USB connectors, Ethernet cable not included. See, these media types can be used on PS3 system with an appropriate USB adapter, not included. Yeah, so anyway, but, well, there you go. And this is a whole bunch of other stuff, and turn the box one more time. You got your Blu-ray symbol right there. Ooh, you better be oohing and ahhing at home. I'm gonna hate you. This video can be split into... Oh, the battery's running low? You're kidding me. If I have to clip out... camera... Okay, inside the box, basically came with a bunch of, well, the whole system and cords and everything, but I have it already set up, and I'm not going to unset it to show you. I'll demo what it looks like later, but inside of it basically, yes, came an old used battery. I don't know how that got there. And a piece of paper. Okay. First things first was this little, pamphlet here, which is not really an instructional manual. It's far too thin to be that, but, come on, advertisement. You see, here, great, the sun's coming in at just the right angle, just so I'm blind. Which shows a bunch of PS3 games and upcoming stuff in the PlayStation Store, and here you go, MotorStorm, and yeah. I fell on the floor, and then some other piece of paper I don't understand. A manual for the whole thing, which comes in 3 separate languages, which is standard these days. Wouldn't it be funny if one of the languages was like Somalian? You know, I mean, like, you know, I'm more so used to Spanish and French and English, and of course an explanation of the ESRB ratings, because most parents are thick as a brick when it comes to that. Okay. So, that's the PlayStation box. Now, let's get down to business. slowly panning over here, you see my PS2 has moved. And there's my LCD. And dun, 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 bum, 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 dun, 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 dun. Okay, that's fine enough of that. Gotta zoom out again. Okay, so here's where I set up my PlayStation 3. I originally actually had it set up on its side. An interesting factor, which I just found out, if you have it set up on its side, the little PS logo is turnable, in case you want to set it up on its side. Awesome feature, Sony. Like, it really doesn't, it's, wow. Can you say unnecessary? Crap, and I can't turn it back. Bing. Okay, so on the front here, you have your touch-sensitive buttons. These are kind of like iPod buttons. You just tap them, and they do what you want. I won't turn it on just yet. You have, normally on the regular system versions, this would be a little flap that you could open up, and it would reveal, well, your SD card slots and all that good stuff. And, well, this one doesn't have it. Notice that the chrome stuff, which is on most of the models, isn't actually chrome or color, or what's the word, reflective. It's more like a shiny silver. The whole of it is shiny as hell. In fact, when I stood up on its end and I looked like directly at it, I kind of had like a freak out because it looked like I was looking into like a black mirror. It was like, whatever. Anyway, you can see a cord here. This is the USB cord that came with the 6-axis controller. It's about that long. And, yeah. It's, well, if you want to charge up the controller, yeah, it's pretty good. And you can play that close anyway with it hooked in, so no big deal. It's good. And hey, it's a free USB in case you want to return the PS3. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Okay, on the back. Well, first of all, here you go. You can see how shiny it is. Hello! You can see the Spider-Man font and the PlayStation 3 logo. And then on the back, you probably can't see this, but I'll just give you a little view back. See what it's like back there. I can't even see behind the camera there. You can see a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't know where it all is. Over there you can see some cords, and this little switch right here, which turns on the blah 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 power. Okay, now that's that, and finally, to the last thing, which I had trouble pulling out of my coat pocket, jacket pocket, whatever the heck this little triad shirt is. That's probably the wrong word. I think a triad is like a, what's the word, like saying Yakuza. It's like the Chinese Mafia, or like Asian Mafia, or something like that. I'm just like, I don't know, maybe this is a kind of a shirt that like a triad boss would wear to seem, very old world, or what's the word, very sentimental or something like that. Like how some Yakuzas will keep like katanas like in their limos or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely ignorant about that. Like, I'm just going from Kill Bill, Okay. This is the 6-axis controller. They're about $60 a pop, and they're really expensive. Now, the 6-axis controller, as most of you probably know, has the ability to sense motion, much like a Wii remote, in 360, blah, 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 this far, and front and back and forward, and it recognizes motion, and blah, 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 blah. It looks just like a DualShock, except for, you've got these here little knobs, and these are the most creamy knobs I've ever felt, ever, which is good and bad. It's very, 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 very fluid, the most fluid I've ever felt, but of course that might not offer the most definite control. Sometimes it's like you might be weaving a little bit just because it's so smooth like water. Other changes is that on the back, the R2 and L2 buttons are now more like triggers, as you can see. They don't click like that, they really just pulling like triggers. Besides that, of course, you also have the PS button, which acts basically like your Xbox button. It, turns it on, turns it off, it accesses menu, much like the home button on the PSP. And then besides that, well, nothing else. There's no rumble in it, and it's very, very light, and that means that, well, there's no rumble in it, so it's very, very, very light. Very, very, very light. In fact, I do believe these things are a little see-through, actually. The plastic is almost transparent for some odd reason when you hold it up to the light, and you can see that there's no rumble in this. Some people ask, well, is that better, is that worse? It's almost standard by now, and I'm like, it's actually, it doesn't bother me. The missing the rumble doesn't bother me too much. And I you know what? I can actually think I can live without it. I might get one with rumble in it, but the truth is that the rumble in the other ones was the first thing to break. So, I mean, without that, there might not be little pieces rumbling around in there. Oh, how horrible, would it be for the control pad to hold up on its own. But I obviously haven't taken the, since it's wireless, it hasn't hit the ground yet, thank you, God. Okay, probably running out of time. In the next part, we'll probably talk about everything from here to Timbuktu. Everything from here to the sun. We'll cover all those subjects. The sun is a mass of incandescent gas burning brightly at the center of our... Do I have that on CD? Yeah.